Hello, Pisces, and welcome to Indigo Rising Tarot. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope you're having a great day. This will be your weekly reading for the first week of March, which makes me very excited because I feel like we're getting closer to spring, which I'm very excited for. Warmer days, getting done with winter, which it's been so cold this winter, so I'm so done. Anyway, first week of March, 1st through 7th, we have the waxing gibbous energy that comes in from last week. And of course, that's a time when we're demonstrating our flexibility and making adjustments on those things that we started during the new moon. We also have a full moon that comes in on the 3rd, and that energy can last, the day before and after as well. But that is, of course, heightened emotions. You might feel a little overwhelmed and anxious or snappy and irritable. But it is a good time for us to release resentments or fears that we have, and also to practice patience and calm. So that's a little gift for us every cycle to practice those things. We then move into the waning gibbous energy, which of course is calmer, and it's a good time for self-reflection and rebirth. So make those positive changes and get rid of bad habits and negative thinking during that time. So keep those moon energies in mind, Pisces, as we move through the week. This will be an intuitive general reading for energies that you may or may not encounter. So, as always, please take what resonates and leave what doesn't on the table for someone else. And your overall message for this reading is conclusions are within reach. All right, let's see what the Pisces Collective has going on for the week. As I'm shuffling the tarot cards, I would like to remind you, my fun weekly reminder is to keep a spiritual journal. So sometimes we don't recognize the patterns that are evolving in our life, especially when it comes to the spiritual things that we're learning, experiencing. This could be, writing down a dream that you're having or a synchronistic thing that happens to you. This could also be, if you're having synchronicity, so seeing numbers or phrases or things, and it's just a good, write those things down. You might forget them day to day, and you might need to go back a week, month, year, or two later and look back on those. And then it might make more sense if it doesn't make sense at the time. And you might see a pattern that's been evolving or something that it's kind of like the universe tapping you on the shoulder to remind you of something. So it's just a good idea to keep a spiritual journal. So that is my fun weekly reminder for you. And let's get right into this reading, Pisces. March 1st through the 7th. Conclusions are within reach. Let's see what you guys have going on for the week. All right, there we go. Your present energy right now, Pisces, is rest and meditation here with the Four of Swords. So conclusions are within reach, and you might be trying to just meditate through those things, going within, trying to understand different things. Meditation is, I always say if it's not something that you do, try to work it into your week. And sometimes it's hard. Life gets chaotic, and it's hard to just find those quiet moments, or, to just really take for yourself to contemplate things, or to really just empty your mind. It's just such a good mental relaxation thing to do. So maybe that's just a little reminder for you to meditate a little bit this week. Your current situation right now is the Magician. So it might be that you're meditating on what is it that you want to manifest. The Magician is asking you, what tools would you like to use to change something in your life? And it could be these swords. Maybe you want to be a better communicator. Maybe you have some emotional things to work on, inner, outer, or with other people. Maybe there's something with the Pentacles here. You want to bring more money in or manage your material world better, maybe something like that, or it could be something passion related. So think about that, because it looks like that's kind of what you're thinking about as you're meditating and resting, as you're thinking about this thing that you're wanting to manifest. What is the next thing in your life? What's the next step for the next cycle? I see those each full moon and new moon, it's almost like a mini New Year's. Like each new moon is like you get a chance to change something in your life. You don't have to do it all on January 1st. So think about that. Think about the upcoming new moon and what is it that you want to change about yourself. You may be starting a new diet or an exercise plan, or maybe you're trying to read for X amount of time a day or meditate. So think about what those things are. And as that, it's a good thing to start those things when the new moon comes around. So that'll be coming around shortly. All right. At the root of your situation is the Wheel of Fortune. So you're having some evolvement in your life, and you're noticing it. You're taking note of how things change. And this is about changing from day, things that change day to day. that you didn't even know that were going to change you. Those things that you're like, all of a sudden, boom, life is different today for some reason, things that happen like that. But we're constantly evolving and constantly, that's a good thing, constantly improving and doing those things. So, what opportunities are coming up? Is there something coming up that will be an involvement for you and kind of turn your wheel of fortune around? What is in your recent past here is the Ace of Wands. So, the Ace of Wands is some kind of big yes that has come into your life and some sort of new passion. So, there might be something that you're working on that you're just very passionate about right now. And that's really great. You're bringing that into the future, maybe bringing that, maybe that's what you're going to use to manifest is something that you're really passionate about. Now, and I would think that if you're thinking that's something that's like lacking in my life right now is, just something that fires me up, that gets me real excited. A lot of times we think back to our youth, maybe you were involved in, some sport or some activity or something that was kind of exciting. And you think, oh, as an adult, I've kind of let that go. And maybe it's not that specific thing that you bring back into your life, but it's that feeling, that feeling of excitement and passion. And what is that for you right now? You might be exploring what that might be. All right, what is on your mind this week? As you're feeling a little bit stuck, but this is your clue here that you can think your way out of something. So there might be something that you are feeling a little stuck with. Excuse me, let me grab a. Also, maybe you need to speak up about something. Anytime I get a little frog in my throat during a reading, it makes me think there may be something that you do need to speak up about. And maybe it involves this card, but there's some way in which you're feeling a little bit stuck, but you know that you can think your way out of it and maybe even talk your way out of it because of that little clue I just got there. But yeah, with that 8 of Swords, just something you're feeling a little bit stuck, and it might just be that you need to say the thing that burst that dam loose, right? That there's just something clogged there that you need to say a thing or get a thing off your chest. But and that's what, if conclusions are within reach, maybe the conclusion is just a verbal thing that needs to be said so that you can move forward. In your what is just ahead of you this week is the World card. So you're reaching and it's perfect balance. So maybe this thing gets said and it lifts the world, it changes things, it makes your life different tomorrow, it makes you realize that you can manifest the next thing into your life. The World is the very last card in the Fool's Journey on in the major arcana. So you're reaching some conclusion point, some conclusion to something, where you do feel imbalanced, and you're adding things or making those adjustments in your life that make you feel that way, that you feel imbalanced, like you've just got a good handle on things, which is great. That's a great feeling to have. In your advice position here, Pisces, is the Hermit card. So the Hermit definitely goes along with rest and meditation. So this might not be a week for you to be out and about. It might be more of a quiet week where you are, just kind of inward and thinking about things, thinking about, like I said, what's approaching, with that new moon approaching, what things are you trying to change in your life right now? And just sometimes you'd have to evaluate and take a look around and think, this needs to change, that does too. Let's just take the time to do it and I'll feel better. What makes your life feel the best every day? And what things, like if you feel like you're being annoyed by the same thing over and over, only you can change that. And you have to go, okay, I don't want this to annoy me anymore. Let me take care of it so that it doesn't. But your advice is to go ahead and use this rest and meditative time to do that inner searching there with the Hermit card. What is beyond your control this week is that you're kind of juggling things there with the Two of Pentacles. I feel like that's pretty standard, especially if you're trying to rest and meditate and be quiet. Sometimes that's a little harder, easier said than done, right? With our crazy lives. And, we're all trying to, juggle work and activities and spouses and kids and friends and family and all that, it's a lot. Sometimes you just get to detract from it, but it's beyond your control that you do have to kind of juggle things, probably to make this time for that rest and meditation for yourself. What is your secret desire? What are you trying to avoid? Is the Nine of Wands. So this is about looking back over our path, and it's either that is your secret desire while you're doing this resting and meditation, or you might just be trying to avoid that altogether and saying, you know what, I'm not going to think about the past. I want to think about the future. I want this magician to be in the forefront of my mind about what I want to manifest for my future. But again, this is kind of one of those evaluation points. So are you trying to avoid evaluating, or is it your secret desire to do a little evaluation? It'll be different for different Pisces, but answer that in your own way. And maybe if if you're trying to avoid that, maybe just do enough of it so that you can move yourself forward if it's kind of a sticking point for you. But that is something you'll have to ask yourself this week. And your outcome this week, Pisces, is Queen of Swords. So If you need to say a thing, there's your card to do it, because she does not mince words. She says exactly what's on her mind. I've never known a Pisces that has an issue with doing that, so that shouldn't be a problem. But that's your outcome energy, is that maybe this thing, whatever it is kind of, like I said, it's the words that bust the dam loose to make things flow, or to fix something that you feel like you do need to address in your own life. So what's hidden from you here at the bottom of the deck is anxiety. So good. That's a great place for that card. There's a few cards that we want hidden from us, and you're not anxious about it at all this week. You're not worried about things. I guess you're feeling stuck here, but there's not sleepless nights. You're going to sleep well. Like I said, you're going within, thinking about things, solving the little riddles of life. And yeah, this isn't, you're not going to be worried about anxiety, because I think those conclusions are within reach, and you know what it is that you need to do. So let's get a final message here from the Soul Oracle deck. Final message for Pisces. First week in March for Pisces. All right, this card right here, which says, bust out of your cocoon. Okay. Well, if you're feeling like, what's this? Is she busting out of her cocoon? Looks like she's about to. So maybe that's you as well. Maybe just you have to say the thing that needs to be said. Let's see what you need to do in the way of self-care. Self-care for Pisces this week, first week in March. Self-care for Pisces. All right, this card right here, and it's the card called Change. A resistance to change is a resistance to life itself. Open your heart and mind to new beginnings. Okay, so whatever change needs to come about, and that's what this magician does for you. And really, those changes are in your control. Once you choose the element, and you don't have to choose one element, it could be all the elements there. What is it? Are you trying to, be a better communicator? Again, do you need more in some part of your life? Whatever that might be, study that magician card and think about what those elements do mean. And, think about that. Change is good. And what is it that you're trying to change? Bust out of your cocoon. Conclusions you're within reach, and you're just making your life better and better all the time. That's what we're all trying to do. So, Pisces, thank you so much for being here. I hope there was something in this reading that you can take away and use. Looking around to see if I missed any number repeats. I don't think I did. No. So, anyway, if you like my reading style, hitting like and subscribe will help you find me next week. Also, if you're comfortable sharing, drop me a comment. Is there something you're trying to change right now? Are you trying to bust out of your cocoon and make some sort of change like that? I'd be very curious to know. So, and if you're comfortable sharing, of course, drop me a comment and let me know all about that. So, once again, thank you so much for being here, Pisces, and good luck in this. I will see you next week. Bye bye.